What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another interview edition of Learn Crypto. My name is Nick Hellman, and today I have with me Anurag Yadav, the CEO of Barter Trade, with a vision of providing the market with the most innovative solutions for the most common problems in the cryptocurrency space. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, no problem. So do you want to briefly tell us who you are and what is your role within the Barter Trade ecosystem?
Yeah, so I'm the CEO of the company, here at Barter Trade, and obviously Barter Trade, is a new innovative exchange. It's going to be live very shortly. Obviously, we are, in the process of launching it, and it has a host of very innovative features which have been in development for the past almost 1.5, 2 years now. So I think that's primarily what Barter Trade is today.
That's awesome. And you said you've been developing it for a year or two and you guys haven't launched yet. What is the reasoning for that? Are you guys really trying to bring new innovative products to the space, or you guys were just waiting for the right time, the right kind of crypto market conditions to really launch the exchange?
Right. Yeah. I mean, so when we were looking at this space, when we came up with this idea, I mean, a lot of our team members actually have been traders, like going as early as 2011. So you can see the very early days of crypto, right? And so the kind of exchanges and sometimes not a very user-friendly experience in terms of trading. And, obviously these are seasoned traders, so they know whenever a new exchange is launched, they know their way about it. But the idea was, if crypto has to gain mass adoption, it really has to focus on, first of all, the user experience, how actually the new users are going to come in. If it is too overwhelming, then obviously this is not going to fly. So from the very early days, our focus was, first of all, trying to understand what is it that the market is missing. Obviously these are all complicated products, new ones keep coming, but still is it usable to the larger audience? And that is the idea behind Barter Trade. And so the time it took was primarily coming up with some of the unique features that the exchange has today. And obviously a lot more are planned, in the subsequent phases. But to get all of those features, which is going to give a good first feel to our, early users, is what took us a time. And obviously, we had all sorts of security aspects, went multiple loops, penetration testing, the audits of our smart contracts, et cetera, et cetera.
That sounds really exciting. And you kind of touched on it a little bit, but, obviously, it's very important in the exchange sector to be able to differentiate yourself. There's a lot of competitors. There's a lot of pretty good exchanges out there. How do you guys plan on doing that? And what are the Barter Trade products that you think will achieve that, or that you're most excited for?
Right. So our innovation actually is on multiple levels. One is obviously on the technology side and the usability, as I was talking about earlier on, but also on the project itself. So we looked at the market and we realized there are certain low cap projects which obviously have a lot of potential, but for a variety of reasons, they don't see the same trade volumes. So we created a very unique assessment framework basis which there are a couple of people, as I was telling, we have all sorts of, members in the team who have been trading for a very long time. So we created this assessment platform through which we are able to sort of pick up projects. And we already have 4 projects with whom we have partnerships. And obviously these partnerships are going to be announced very shortly as we move closer to the launch. And these projects have a tremendous potential from the perspective of growing, in the longer run, and also the potential of the technology itself in terms of making a difference. So on those 2 aspects, obviously, we have picked these projects. So picking up the projects and the markets where we're going to play was one of the decisions which we made. And then the product itself. So things like social trading, which has various aspects of, copy trading and a variety of other things, which obviously there on our website and other documentation. And then our unique algo trading. So algo trading, again, there are features where people can personalize what sorts of, trade they would like to on their behalf. So you have an entire page where you could go in and put in your preferences, and accordingly, the bot works for you in the background. And again, is, besides all this, to be able to come up with an exchange which is free from all sorts of ills, if I can say that, with the current exchange system, which is primarily on wash trading and other areas. So we want to be absolutely transparent in terms of what we want to do. And so some of these algorithms and the structure and the way the exchange is set up is all geared towards that.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. Sounds like you guys are picking out some community projects in which your exchange and those projects can hopefully grow together. And maybe you guys will become the next kind of gem exchange. You know, we've kind of had a void there as of late with Cryptopia and their big issue. I know you guys are working a lot on security and insurance for your exchange as well. So we'll talk about that a little later. You know, that's what we're seeing with Binance, Coinbase, and the other big boys, is they're really trying to hammer down security, hammer down insurance. So if those unfortunate situations happen, they can retain their users and make sure their users get their funds back. Within the exchange, though, there is a BRT token, and that is the native cryptocurrency and the exchange token for the barter trade platform. Can you explain some of the token economics and where the viewers can attain BRT leading up to the launch of the exchange?
Right. So there are a number of ways where users can get these tokens. One is the most obvious one being the IEO. Obviously we are conducting the IEO on X Markets exchange, and it's going to go live on the 25th of this month. That's a very good area to obviously buy. But then there are two other areas. One is the bounty campaigns, which we are conducting, but actually one is already going on. So we can share the links of where people can have, participate in that. And then, we have ones planned with Bitcoin Talk, and there are internal community aspects where again, we are, giving away tokens. And then on our Telegram channel, there are specific AMA sessions where people can ask questions and they can get rewarded with the BRT. So I would say those three areas in particular, and of course, this information out there, in the public domain, and people can have a look and really to come and join us in this, interesting community building exercise.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's a couple options for attaining BRT before the exchange even launches. You can get it for free in some places. You can also get it via bounty. So you do a little work, you get BRT rewarded to you. And then of course there is the IEO. We've seen other exchange tokens have very, let's just say very good ICOs and IEOs in the past. BNB, for example, KCS, BitMax, and the list goes on and on. So it'll be exciting to see what barter trade and BRT can do. And I know within the IEO, there's a couple rounds. So the first round, you get a bonus. Not financial advice, but definitely take a look at xmarkets.com, take a look at the documentation and see if it's something you're interested in. And like I said, there's plenty of opportunities to get a little bit of free BRT to play around with as well via the community networks as well as the bounty programs. So check those out. All the links will be in the description below, of course, guys. So what are some? I
do want to at this point also talk about the token economics. I mean, unlike some of the other projects, and again, coming back to our original philosophy as to how we designed the entire project, as to have that community outlook and have people generally on a mass scale come on and use the platform. So from that perspective, there is almost like 38% of our tokens which would be with the community. Obviously with the sales, public sales, but eventually another 10% from the final outcome of the collection also again is going to be with the community in various programs, bounty, et cetera, et cetera. So we have been very, very careful in terms of having that aspect, and also because our supply, compared to some of the other, projects that are out there. So our price to the supply is also very, very attractive, right? So if you look at, we have like 250 million, 240 million tokens eventually going to be in circulation. And to that, the price, so I think it's a very attractive proposition considering that we are a utility and we want more and more people to own it and use it on the platform for a variety of things. So be very thoughtful with that.
Yeah, it looks really good. And then also on top of that, I know you guys have some mechanisms built in where barter trade is going to have a buyback system, a burn system, similar to what we've seen with other successful projects. So I guess you kind of talked a little bit about the token economics as far as total supply, a large percentage going to IEO and community members and marketing. with the team only holding a small portion of the BRT. What are some of the use cases for BRT within the exchange, outside the exchange? Why do we want to be holders and users of this utility token?
Right. So a number of things out there. One, I would say, obviously, as a token holder, you get a lot of benefit in terms of the trading fee itself on the platform, and it goes as high as 100% discounts for certain categories. So we'll have certain categories, which is obviously determined on how many tokens you're holding eventually over a period of time. And if you reach a certain threshold, you could get as much as 100% discount on your trading fees. But anyway, you would still get certain discounts irrespective of the number you hold or you don't hold. The other thing, obviously, is the voting on the platform when we are looking at major events related to the barter trade ecosystem. We are developing certain features or actually looking to set direction on various ways. Again, the voting mechanism comes in play where you can use your barter trade. And then, a number of things in terms of the bounties, airdrops, and etc. again, are going to be there for the BRT token holders. And then, this token can also be used. So we have this battleground set up on the platform where, people can come in and actually have certain trades over a period of time, and then they get a small reward. Again, BRT is going to be one of the primary ways to sort of participate in that.
That sounds really exciting. So, we see the fees thing across the board. That makes sense. So is the fees just going to be based on the amount of BRT you hold, or are you also going to have the second component where they also need to have a certain trading volume? So I know some people, I hate to keep bringing it up, but it's a good comparison. BNB, for example, not only do you have to hold a certain amount of BNB, but you also need to be a pretty high volume trader to even be able to get any benefits, which, for some, that's a little tough. With BRT, do you just need to hold a specific balance and the volume isn't really calculated in for that fee reduction?
Okay, so I think your question was primarily towards whether you also need to have a high trading volume to get those benefits, right? No, that's not the case. In our case, as I said, as soon as you hold that, you start getting the benefits. Your benefits tend to multiply the more you start to hold them, right? Because it unlocks a lot more value for the platform and for the member.
Yeah, I think that's a good decision because some of the thresholds on other exchanges is quite high as far as volume. Not everybody's an active day trader, but there might be a big holder of the underlying exchange token for various benefits. So yeah, a lot of those look good. I know there's a lot more use cases that you guys will probably come out with as you start launching new products for BRT as well. So it's definitely some exciting things going on there. And I think you guys are taking kind of the best of all these other exchange tokens and kind of merging it into your vision of an exchange and your vision of a utility token in the form of BRT. Now,
I think that's probably the benefit, I would say, in the hindsight, that we were a little thoughtful and took a back step rather than very quickly launching the project, rather than taking a little bit of time. And I think that's been very helpful to sort of see what are the emerging challenges as well. We knew obviously some of the existing challenges, but of course, in the last, I would say, 12 to 18 months, there are other challenges which we obviously came up and we thought, okay, we should have solutions for that. So. Obviously the platform has features on, certain aspects of DeFi, if I can say that, like lending, etc. And then obviously peer-to-peer trading is also on the way. So we are working on that. So I think there's a huge roadmap and a team behind which is working on, sort of bringing this to life. Yeah,
it sounds like kind of like the tortoise and the hare, the slow and steady wins the race. So you guys had some time to kind of think about some of your decision-making there. And, really the thing that makes it successful is getting the users onto the platform. And I think that's kind of being addressed by bringing in some of these, launch partner projects with their strong communities, maybe undervalued and underutilized blockchains in projects. So we'll see what happens moving there. I know a lot of people are going to ask, why the IEO? How do you guys plan on using the funds that are raised during the IEO or any funds that are raised during the bounty programs and other things you guys have going on?
Yeah, so I would say primarily, what we are looking to do with the money that we are raising is to go towards the development. And I said, as I was explaining, we have a host of, products outlined, which are there all on the website. And, we're obviously thinking of more as well, which again, trying to build an ecosystem. It's a social, sort of a network in the sense that people are looking at it more from a community perspective, not so much from core trading. Obviously, there'll be core traders. Everybody's welcome. But there is an aspect of that community thing. So we are looking to build things which are going to be benefiting the entire ecosystem, and we are obviously working towards that. So a part of that funds are obviously going to be towards the development, and then obviously marketing and building the community, and also continuing to sort of have community engaged in the sort of building of the decisions in terms of building other products. And again, coming back to the token economics part, if you look at how the token economics is laid down, there's a long vesting period for the primary team, almost 5 years, right? So, and every year there's a small, unlocking that happens. And likewise for advisors and other people. Of course, people who come on board, members who are going to be perhaps buying, in the IEO or otherwise, they can sell it right away. I mean, right away, as soon as the public sale comes to an end. But for other key members, just to demonstrate our commitment and our, how much we value this, we have a very long vesting period. So the money doesn't go as much to us; it goes to the platform in terms of building it and building the community.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. So I do like that you guys do have the holdback provisions and the holdback clauses for the BRT that is locked up for the team members. So it shows some commitment and long-term vision of the exchange, because if you do the exchange properly, the BRT tokens themselves for the members won't really even be that important because you guys are going to be driving trading fees and doing trading competitions and everything like that. So I do like seeing that. And also the fact that people who do the IEO, back in the day you did the ICO, there was no real project. There was no real monitored platform that was hosting the ICO. And sometimes you would have to wait months upon months to even get your ERC20 token. But it seems like with you guys, once the IEO is over, the contract for the BRT token will be completed and distributed to bounty winners, to reward winners, to IEO investors, and they will have that token immediately. Also, with you guys doing it on X markets, it will be on a tradable exchange from day one. So people who just want to try to flip it for a quick buck, you can do that if you don't really believe in the vision. But I think it's probably smart to wait until Barter Trade exchange is launched and to take advantage of those BRT holdings for some of the membership fee reductions, governance voting, which is very important to remain decentralized in a utility token. So I think a lot of things are looking very interesting to me, and I'm happy you came on here to kind of discuss some of these things. So based on, you guys are looking to launch a revolutionary exchange for the crypto space. So you must have a pretty strong overall opinion on the crypto ecosystem as a whole right now. Do you kind of want to shed some light on that, kind of breaking off a little bit from Barter Trade to kind of discuss crypto macro in general and this global phenomenon of blockchain technology?
Right. So, I mean, if you look at the crypto market and especially the exchange business, it's to a larger extent saturated, right? And so oftentimes I'm also asked this question, hey, why another exchange, right? And my answer is fairly simple. All the incumbents who are out there, and they are for very good reason, and they have obviously a very strong community. People use them, but they still have. And as I think I was already telling during my earlier conversation with you, is that part of that has led to where Barter Trade is today. And from that perspective, obviously the future is very bright. Now, coming to number of users that the crypto community has globally, I mean, it's minuscule compared to traditional finance, right? So as crypto becomes more and more mainstream, it cannot be just those, a handful of exchanges who are going to control everything, right? There are going to be niche exchanges in different geographies serving very niche requirements, right? So as I was saying, we were looking at a very specific area in terms of, low cap projects with a lot of potential. Certain geographies, where we tend to, believe there is a lot of potential, such as Africa, Middle East markets as well. So we would, put in efforts there as well to sort of gain more users. So our idea is to look at untapped markets, underserved markets, and give them a solution which really resonates with them, and they come on board. Obviously, the crypto market is just opening up. I mean, of course, there are people who have been there on it for a while, but as I was saying, it's a very small fraction. And coming back to the country where I am from, India, we've been like a little bit uncertain about how we want to deal. I'm talking about the government and the regulatory perspective. We had it unregulated, let's say, for a while, and then there was a ban, and then the ban was lifted. And now I hear, news as recent as a couple of days back where the government has moved, a sort of a consultation where they are trying to review whether there should be a ban or if not, so how should it be regulated? So in the larger context, because the government is taking this positive, proactive move rather than just banning it, and bringing broad-based consultation, is that if there is regulation, a lot more people will be interested in investing. I mean, I've already seen Binance basically rush through India in the last 2-3 months with some deep investments. Likewise, a few other exchanges have got some very good funding of $2.5-3 million as recent as a couple of weeks ago. So, imagine 1.3 billion people here, and Africa largely, Middle East. It's a huge market. We haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg today, right? So there's a lot more going on in the crypto world.
Right. A lot of people are like,
and this is besides the blockchain. So if you get into the blockchain space, that's even bigger, right?
Right. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, am I late to Bitcoin? Am I late to cryptocurrencies? Am I late to blockchain? And really, yeah, it's been around for 10 years. But like you said, it's the tip of the iceberg. If you look from a monetary perspective, I mean, the market cap of the entire crypto space is smaller than that of gold, for example, which is one commodity. And then, like you said, once you move to blockchain, that technology is great, but we're really just starting to see some of the real world use cases of the technology, these utility tokens and these crypto assets, and how they can really be used by everyday people and how they can be used by commercial grade companies as well. So I think there's a long runway to go as far as where this space is going. And eventually I think it's just going to be a norm and be merged with traditional markets here. Who knows if that takes 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, I don't know. But I think we're still very early in this ecosystem.
Yeah, no, I will sort of add to that. I mean, and I keep giving that example to, wherever conferences I go and speak about this topic, is you look at AI. AI has been there forever. I mean, you look at it technically when it started, it's been a good 30 years, right? And they have witnessed so many AI winters before where they are today, right? And of course, it is getting more and more mainstream because, Google, Amazon's, and everybody else has started using, and we now use it in our day-to-day life through Alexa, etc. A blockchain or crypto from that perspective is, 10 years seems like very long, but honestly, in a very, very novel emerging technology space, it's actually a very small period, right? And we've already seen various winters, and people who are passionate and believe in the vision, they have been there with these projects, right? And they've been doing all sorts of things. And we have now started seeing a lot of mainstream adoption, especially when governments and other important international bodies and agencies look at it very carefully to either regulate it or even try to, I mean, I'm not even talking about how China is looking at the digital yuan, but I'm just talking about this whole ecosystem in general, the way it is evolving. I mean, it's at a point of inflection, to be very honest. And of course, this entire, COVID thing the past couple of months has only sort of exacerbated this whole process of, this whole acceleration, right?
Right.
So I'm pretty bullish about this technology and also the space, to be very honest, right?
Right. I would agree with everything you said there. So we've kind of talked about barter trade, we've talked about BRT, and we've kind of got your overall opinion on the crypto and blockchain. Is there anything I missed pertaining to any of those topics that you wanted to kind of reiterate or bring up before we kind of wrap up this interview?
Well, I mean, as I was explaining, especially about the project that we have at hand, and we were talking about barter trade and the things that we have done so far. I think it goes without saying that we have a very strong team behind us. I was talking about people we have, analysts and traders. I went to Stanford, did my master's from there, and so we have a very strong team, which is behind this project, and we've been, as I said, working for almost 1.5-2 years to sort of bring this to life without sort of getting rushed into sort of making money. So we want to make this a very unique, differentiated product, which hopefully is going to serve a lot of communities who knows, maybe amongst the top few exchanges in a year or two time, right? So that's what our vision is.
That's always the goal, right? So, I mean, based on the documentation I've seen as far as the website, the white paper, IEO terms, BRT token economics, I think you guys have a ton of potential, and I'm excited to put them to the test upon the launch of your exchange, which I think is set for maybe a month or two after IEO completion, if I'm correct.
Yep.
So that's about all I got, guys. Let me know your thoughts on barter trade and the BRT token. All important links will be in the description and comment section below. I would definitely check out bartertrade.io to learn more about the exchange, the token, the IEO terms and conditions. And once again, that begins on June 25th. So let me know in the comment section. Check out the links, and thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show and letting my community know about this potential opportunity and this new exchange that maybe they can find some gems on.
No, my pleasure. Thanks a lot, Nick, for having me today. And, thank you to your community for listening to this.
Until next time, guys, stay tuned for your daily updates on cryptocurrencies right here at Learn Crypto.